them come. This is their fate.
All right. Welcome back to the House of Wolves podcast. I am your host, Deontay, with my friends Jalen and Josh. This is a bi-weekly podcast where we talk strictly gaming, talk about, new topics, things that's updates, anything related to gaming. That's what we own. We got a few topics for you guys today. We're going to be talking a lot about that Apex Legends update. We're going to be talking a little bit about Returnal. We're going to be talking about Pokemon Snap. And we're also going to be talking about that FPS Boost. This is a little bit later, so we got some more news to cover. But, that's going to be a few of the topics that we get to today. We may get to a little bit more. It just depends. But before we jump into it, as usual, how my fellas doing? How y'all day going? What's y'all grievances? Y'all can go.
Nah. I'm screaming. My day's smooth, man. I know y'all probably tired of me hearing this, but just finished up my last week of school, last full week or whatever, and then just keep it pushing. So that's pretty much it. Ain't a whole lot going on. So blessed to see another day. Can't complain.
Hey man, that's the best feeling.
Actually.
Yeah, same for me here. After next week, I'm done with class for the summer. So it's hard to explain how stressful school is, especially when you're an adult working and you got a family. But I'm glad to be done, so we can just relax and play some games.
Exactly, man. That's all we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to a point where we can just play games all the time. We don't gotta do nothing, right? At least that's my goal. that's the passive income goal. I ain't gotta do nothing. Play games all day, still make money. But yeah. It's same for me, kind of. I'm just working for the weekend at this point. I still, love my job, but we're kind of doing some stuff that I don't feel like doing right now. But we still pushing through. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy with it. I no problems with it. It's just more so, it's a tough time in my I guess my field, but we get through it. But anywho, let's start with, I guess the Apex one is going to be the longest one because I'm kind of going to run down the patch notes. So if you have not heard about everything, this is a good place to kind of find out all the happenings of what's changing for Apex Legends and kind of the stuff that we want to highlight to kind of, talk about, because there's a lot coming with this season that a lot of people just aren't aware of. A lot of changes, a lot of updates, but then there's a lot of stuff that you probably already know. So I'm gonna try to give a pretty brief overview of everything because I don't think I want to bore y'all with the entirety of it. But yeah, first thing I want to talk about is that bow check bow. The bow check bow looks freaking awesome, dude. It just looks like a high precision, high reward, lot of risk type of weapon. And it probably will help me with my aiming in that game. For headshots and like body shots and just trying out those types of weapons, because it kind of makes you focus on becoming, more accurate with your shots versus not being accurate. Obviously the timing and everything is different, but I feel like depending on your movement and stuff like that, I feel like the compound bow is kind of like a more fast-paced and more agile sniper. So I'm really looking forward to actually utilizing that thing. That's probably one of the biggest things that I'm like excited for outside of Arena. Arena's just is gonna be like the trials away from trials for me. It's gonna be something I can actually play consistently, and it's not as if I need a team to jump into it. This is also match made, so it's something where we can go in together, yes, but I can also work, I guess, get better at the game by playing that mode because I'm simply just going into engagements constantly in case I want to like figure out how to finesse a 1v2 moment or a 1v3 moment. It just gives me a lot more rounds and the ability to know the individuals, and that's kind of how we got better at Destiny, in my opinion. Is when Trials came around, we were good at the regular gameplay. It was fun, but I guess when we started playing Trials more often, we had to compete against more, the consistent fight all the time, and having to understand how to move around the map and get better angles on individuals is kind of when we started to get better, a lot better, to be able to take that back to the Iron Banner or whatever we was playing and kind of really whoop people. So I'm feeling like that's going to be the same thing for me, at least, when I'm playing arenas and then switching back to the regular stuff. I've been pretty consistent with like 4 or 5 kills a game, but I'm trying to get to like at least a 10 drop every so often, like every other game or so, where I'm not consistently losing my first initial engagements or stuff like that. So I feel like that will help me kind of practice and keep practicing until I get to a point where I feel good about the game. So just like the change when they allowed you to kind of log in and kind of no feel teammates and kind of put yourself in that situation where you don't have any teammates. I think this is another mode that's going to allow you to kind of hone your skills at the game and play with a lot of stuff that you probably wouldn't play with often and try to get better, because there's the harder weapons to play with are the cheaper ones. So it kind of forces you to kind of play with stuff that you don't normally play with too, which is cool. It's a very unique play style, and I think that's going to be beneficial. I guess before I continue with what I'm going to kind of run down a lot of the stuff and like the changes. What was some of the things that y'all saw that y'all were like most interested in, like trying, or obviously arenas, but like I guess some things that you saw that you would like, okay, seems pretty interesting. That's something that was coming in that update tomorrow, really.
I mean, there's a lot coming, like little patches and fixes for certain people, but it's a new hero, so the meta is gonna change. I'm interested to see how that is. They were bringing back World's Edge. Personally, I don't like the map, but I want to see how it is, because I feel like we've been with Kings Canyon and Horizon. No, not Horizon. Olympus.
Olympus.
Yeah, Olympus for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to switch it up. And then the arena, that's the main thing. Like I've enjoyed the battle royale, but I prefer that, like you said, the 3v3 mode. Just jump in and out, no more wasting time running around looking for fights. Just get straight to it. That's the main thing. A couple little buffs here and there, but I really just gotta see how that stuff play out. Because I feel like the balance is probably gonna be pretty different between the battle royale and the arena.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the meta and like what they kind of force you to play with and how your play style, it would definitely change. But I think the core movement, properly engaging, sticking behind cover, it's going to become more prominent in your mind when you're picking an engagement in a battle royale, to the point where you start to see what would be the best option in this particular moment. Obviously, it's not going to be a ability to really start to master third parties, because that's pretty much what that battle royale is a third party city. But it's going to allow you to kind of position properly to take on multiple people, or to try to get the better positioning before the next team. So a lot of coordination with the team is probably what we will benefit the most from. And then outside of that, it's just movement and how we get in and out of engagements that way. So those are two things I think we're really start to focus in on when we play that mode together. What about you, Jalen? What you from your your exposure to some of the updates? What was something that you thought was interesting?
Uh, I mean, I ain't really had no. I mean, obviously, I only play like one character for real, and that's Lifeline. So I think it's trash that they taking them their shield and stuff like that when it's like other things afoot. But I mean, that's neither here or there. I know you said like aside from like the arena, I didn't really look into like anything else. But like Josh said, just kind of going into that arena or whatever, I think that'd probably be interesting for me because I feel like sometimes like you can go to like the hot spots on Apex and stuff like that. You might get in a one fight and you might chill for the whole match. You be like, dang, we finna hit the final encounter and you only got blue shields and you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? We ain't got no attachments on guns and stuff like that. So being able to like get in and out and stuff like that, like with the like battle, like because I mean obviously we'd be looking for the first, kind of having that just kind of like pop off earlier in the game, like because that's all that's gonna happen in arena. I'm curious to see how much we really enjoy that in comparison to the battle royale because I mean like you said the battle royale is just third party central and there's been plenty of times where we like okay it's three squads left they fighting somebody let's take this opportunity to third party them or whatever and then
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So I'm curious how much we will enjoy arena and see if we thoroughly enjoy the gunplay of this game and the whole way the game just flows. Because I feel like with Destiny, at least me and you, we always enjoy like Crucible. I know Josh didn't really enjoy it because it was kind of time sync, which is fair. Because you
yeah,
don't really get much from Crucible and stuff like that. But I always liked it, the gunplay and like the how that stuff played in Destiny. Apex, I don't know if I can really say I really enjoy the gunplay and stuff like that. I think it's just I don't really know what I enjoy about the game to be honest with you. I think I like the competitive nature that we develop for the game, and I think that's the main thing about it. Um,
hmm,
so yeah, I'm just curious about like I said the arena mode and see how much we thoroughly enjoy it. So
yeah. Okay, yeah. Just getting in there and trying it out then. Um, Now there is one big thing that's happening that is pretty interesting. It's the starter kit that you get now. It's automatic, so you will now start with you'll start with a starter kit that consists of a level 1 Evo shield, a helmet, a knockdown shield, two shield cells, and syringes, and two syringes. So that's every time you drop. So they're basically allowing you to not have to. First off, they're pulling they pulling the helmet, the knockdown, and the shields out of the loot pool, which is good because it kind of makes it where you find other stuff quickly and more, it's more efficient that way. But they're also allowing you to have those two shield cells, two syringes to engage in fights and not feel like you're going to lose immediately because you just didn't pick up stuff. Now, um, what do you guys? Because that's pretty big in my opinion. It's pretty big to the change of a change to happen since the game started. Really, outside of the Evo shields, this is to me because this is now giving you a consistent and constant, a way of healing and getting shields back without even trying to loot. So, what do you guys think about that kind of changing? I guess how do you think it's gonna? Do you think it's really is it enough? Kind of, is it enough to kind of change the game?
Um, I'd say it's pretty necessary because I feel like for a long time there are a lot of items in the loot pool that just clutter the loot pool. Because like when you drop, you know, you pick up a white helmet, but like you're never ever ever gonna need a white helmet ever again. So, but you're constantly gonna run across it. Same thing. Like I know there's like some tactical advantage to picking up some more Evo shields, white, but generally like it's you're better off to either heal or just pick up a blue shield if you can. So I feel like just giving everybody that and taking that stuff out of the loophole is good for the game overall.
Yeah, I mean, I just pretty much echo what he's saying. I mean,
Okay. I think what it'll do is very I think what it'll do is again, like you said, rebalancing that blue pool really is the most important thing of it. I don't think having the knockdown in that shield is going to really help all that much. It might be capable of stopping people from constantly, immediately thirsting you, and that's something that's pretty big. But at the same time, you might be a little more annoying, so it might give your teammates the opportunity to kind of come help you if you're being thirsted, because most of the time when you get knocked at the beginning, you don't have any way of like trying to stop them from just shooting at you with all their bullets and just finishing you off quickly and then picking up all the rest of your stuff. But now that you have a knockdown, that could possibly stop them from constantly just thirsting you immediately. If they're in the middle of an engagement, they start shooting and you say, hey, they're trying to kill me, somebody might be able to come up, re-engage them, and kind of back them off, and you can, work from there. The knockdown, the helmet, the 2 syringes, the med kits, it just allows you, if you were to fall immediately, to get back into the fight and have something to heal yourself up a little bit before you have to continue forward. Do I think it's like super change? Like, is it going to make a huge difference? No, but I think the small differences that it's going to make is going to add up to something better. And I think that how we pick engagements, or at least how we start that matches off, might be a little bit more intense because people feel like they have stuff already, and they might just be forcing, looking for. Everybody looks for a weapon. I think it's just going to be even worse now, where everybody's looking for a weapon immediately because they have all this kit. They just need to find something to kind of attack you with. So that's pretty cool. Go ahead.
I might have missed it. So in addition to having because you said they're gonna have basically white equipment, right? Like that's taking out the drop pool.
Yeah, white equipment, knockdown shield, the shields, knockdown shields, the Evo shield, level 1, and the level 1 helmet. Correct. And then they give you 2 syringes and 2 shield cells.
Okay. So they're giving that from the jump to then. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I am curious how that would play out and stuff when it comes to. I always felt like you can kind of get by, when somebody first land. Basically, if you get a gun and the other person don't, unless you cold with the hands and can finesse,
yeah.
I mean, you finna get earthed. Like, it ain't really much you can do about it, even if somebody got a Mozambique and stuff. So, I mean, the shields add a little bit more longevity to your life and stuff like that. But, I'm just kind of curious to how much people really engage and stuff like that. Because sometimes you land and you ain't even got no ammo. You got 10 shots or 4 shots in a G, or not a G scout, but a Mozambique, but you can't reload it. So you got to use it effectively, I guess.
Mozambique getting a buff too. Mozambique now has 6 shots instead of 4, which is actually pretty decent. I ain't gonna hold you. Even though it's an early on weapon, just giving it 2 more shots, and they move the lower pellets towards the middle of the blast pattern, so you now can even be a little bit more accurate. So you might be hitting for, instead of 46, you might be hitting for 54 every shot, and plus it got 6 now. So the Mozambique just went from being almost really utterly trash. It ain't trash, but you know what I mean. To a point where it could be usable in that first beginning fights, because it now has 6 shots, and it also kind of moved the pattern of the bullet spread inwards, so it's like a consistent shot. And so you're not going to miss those other 2 that might fall off, and you might hit for 30 something or whatever. So you're just going to have more consistency there, and you're getting more shots in the mag immediately. So those 2 things could take the Mozambique to something that's pretty useful, just like the P2020 when you first starting off, So it's changes like that I'm interested in seeing what it does. Obviously Octane now can't do his stem. He can do his stem more often, but it's gonna take 20 HP instead of 12. So it's a lot more of a punishable offense if you just keep stemming constantly, and they allow you to do it. You could take your life down immediately with that.
He can kill himself by stemming, but he can now just keep going instead of sprint and then stop.
Yeah. And So it's those things that I'm kind of interested in seeing. There's plenty of other little small changes as well. Obviously, we were talking about Lifeline. She no longer has that deployable shield. Her heal rate was increased from 5 HP per second to 8 HP per second, and her deployment time before healing begins was reduced by 33%. The faster you pull it out, it's going to take it's going to be quicker to attach to you when she throw it out there. Her care package went from 6 minutes to 5 minutes, and then now guarantees an upgrade. Loba, she now has a better her run, and she can run in like at full speed while aiming her bracelet when she throws it, which I might start playing with her just to try her out. Her black marker got increased a couple of seconds. It got increased by 30 seconds actually for the cooldown. Obviously we know about Horizon being nerfed. Her lift speed is reduced by 30%. So now she slowly goes up. She doesn't just, you know how she used to just fly up immediately and she'd be in the air. She's like 30% lower. So she takes a while to get to the top. And then she only can sit up there for 2 seconds. Yeah, she only can sit up there for 2 seconds now. She used to be up there for a while. Now she only can be up there for 2 seconds. She got nerfed hard, bro.
What does that even mean? Or she can sit up there for like 2 seconds, like she just like descend or something after.
No, it like pushes her out. Like
yeah, it
she's
pushes
no
her
longer
out.
able to float up there.
You know how she used to be able to sit up there and dance for like a while?
Heal, shoot, strafe, all that.
Yeah, now it's just after 2 seconds, it pushes her out of the gravity lift.
Okay.
So really, that thing is not as good as it used to be at all.
It'd still be good for like getting around, but not like in combat. Yeah,
not like basically they wanted to get rid of her ability to kind of shift. She was able to kind of escape if she made a mistake. If she made a mistake, she could just throw her thing up, get in the air, reposition, or stay there, and it was just too much of a powerful thing. So they wanted to fix that. So that's what they did. They also thickened Bangalore's smoke. But you know how they kind of now have the marksman class for the triple take, 30-30 repeater, the G7 scout, and the bow check bow. So all those weapons now have a different type of ammo. It's called marksman. It's going to be a different color. And you'll see that as well. But yeah, it's like a lot of those small changes that they're doing. They reduced the controllability early on in the pattern for the Spitfire. They don't believe it's going to be that strong of a nerf, to be honest, but they're trying to make it where it's not as powerful to kind of kill people. So they feel like this is going to help people get away if you have a lot of shots. So it's going to you could possibly miss a few early on so that you can't just melt people. But they said if it's not good enough, they might look back at it again. I was like, leave the Spitfire alone, man. That might have been Spitfire since 2013 or something. I forget when they came out.
They need to nerf the Spitfire for it. Ain't even.
They nerfing it because they feel like people. It is a pretty strong weapon, Jalen. It is. It's a pretty strong weapon, and I would pick that over a lot of other stuff because of its easy control and the amount of bullets that it get. But I also don't like that because I play with Rampart, and Rampart gets the extra mag, for both the LMGs, the Devotion and the Spitfire, and then also the L-Star, but I just don't use that. But if she gets like higher things, I don't want it to be trash because I like using the LMGs. But yeah, they did the same thing with the Devotion. Devotion used to be really good until they nerfed it to hell, really.
What does that mean though? Like the Spitfire does it kick harder when you first shoot because it don't like spin up like it just.
They basically said it's reduced recoil controllability early in the pattern. So basically what they're saying is those initial bullets that you shoot, it's going to it's not going to be as controllable as it used to. So it might spit up a little bit, and then once it starts to shoot, it gets better to be able to shoot down and take down the target. But the first initial shots is probably going to cause a lot of recoil where it's not controllable. So like it's not going to spin up per se, but it's basically providing a spin up effect because of the amount of bullets you can miss because of the control pattern being shifting at the beginning of the shots.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
that type of recoil is gonna make it harder to shoot at medium range. You
Yeah,
can still hit them, but you're gonna have to wait for the clip to start, pushing through, and you get your recoil back. So
yeah,
really, it's not really gonna make a huge difference for whereas like the gun is trash. It's just you're not gonna be able to like just get the advantage right off the bat in every engagement.
yeah.
But you got
Because
that such long clip that as long as you're able to keep up the fire, you're probably gonna get them.
yeah, it just basically stops the beginning game for you to being able to melt people. I think once you still get the 53, 55 clip, maybe the first 6 or 7 shots not gonna resonate or shoot or the way you want. But after that, they possibly could start to straighten up, and you'll still be able to take them out. I just think that the first few maybe misses because of the control pattern. But again, we haven't tried it, so we don't know. It's really just depends on how bad it is, really. Um, Move speed while aiming down sights has been increased for the marksman weapons altogether. So the G Scout now has a better movement speed than like the snipers, but it's slower than the ARs. Even though the ARs suck to me anyway, so I don't really see that like a big deal. But the G Scout might feel a little bit better than it used to when you're shooting it. It doesn't change anything about the it doesn't change anything about the how it shoots and stuff like that. It's just more so that like the strafe speed and things like in that. What else? Wingman has now at a 2. Went from a 2.0 multiplier to a 2.15. So did the longbow. P 2020 got increased bullet damage from 15 to 18. So that mug, that's basically because the hop up is now gone. So you can't do hammer point. I think that's the hop up that it used to have. So that's gone. So they updated that. Arc stars do not slow people on the initial stick anymore. So it used to, when you get stuck with it, it used to slow you and you couldn't move, and then it'll blow up on you and slow you some more. It doesn't do the slowdown of the initial stick anymore, so you can get away from your teammates basically, because most of the time people will try to retreat and they retreat right into their teammates and blow them up too. But their speed and movement is still going to be able to, if they need to, they could probably get away from their teammates so they don't hit them too. So that's a pretty nice change because the arc stars were pretty overpowered. It was probably one of my favorite grenades, but I guess balancing issues. I think that would be the smart thing to do, because I wouldn't even pick up a frag. If I got arc stars, I'm throwing arc stars. What else? What else did they do? What else did they do? What else did they do? I think that pretty much covers all the important stuff. Obviously, Peacekeeper's coming back out. Yeah, I think that's pretty much covers all the important stuff. All the rest of it stuff is like minor stuff about like emotes and anti-peak. Obviously the updates to the maps, but you probably have to play that to see that. I can't explain what the maps changes are going to look like, but you can play that to see it. But yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to all of that. I'm looking forward to trying new stuff and seeing what they brung back the Mirage Voyage in a way. Trash. I'm like, so they never gonna put it back on the map. They then crashed it into this party crasher thing, so it ain't never coming back. But in the arena map, you get to play on the Mirage Voyage that's crashed. So I guess they giving this to me in some type of way. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for the Apex. I think I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the battle pass. I'm not looking forward to grinding it, but I'm looking forward to getting the stuff that's in it. It wasn't like much stuff that was super, super interesting, but I'm still obviously get the stuff that's in there regardless. And yeah, buddy. Valkyrie's here. That's probably the least thing I'm interested in, to be honest. Valkyrie was the first thing I was interested in, but I was just like, she's not as. She has a cool ability where she can like see where people are while she's in the air redeploying. Um, so that's really cool to me because then we know if we're landing somewhere, if people are around. And that I think that's a really really strong passive. I don't know how the community will feel about that, but I think it's a really really strong passive for her to have the ability to scan and get like little triangles, and everybody on the team can see them. Way better than cryptos and like stuff like that. So it's just a passive. She doesn't have to do anything to see it. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I guess. Do y'all have anything else y'all want to talk about in regards to Apex? Apex Nasty?
No, it's right around the corner. What you have to say, Jayla?
Nah, I'm kind of curious. Did they show anything about Lifeline, like being able to pick people up, like two people at one time? Because she only got one drone.
Yeah, she can pick up two people at one time. She can throw out. I don't think she could throw out two, but they said I'm not sure if it's like herself. She says she no longer deploys a shield. Can now revive two players at the same time. Can now cancel active revives in progress to allow your teammates to defend themselves with their knockdown shield. I'm not sure if that means she can throw out her shield and then pick somebody up off the ground because like she normally could. I don't know. I never seen it happen where you pick somebody up with your regular shield and then you pick somebody up again, or unless it just cancels it out and you can't pick anybody up at all. So I'm not sure if it's like her getting on the ground and picking you up like she would if she had a Revenant on her, or if it's like she throws out two drones. I doubt she throw out two drones. I think she can throw out a drone and pick somebody up as she was as every other normal character could.
I feel like
I've never.
she do
I don't know.
I'm trying to think. There's been times where I wouldn't revive somebody because my drone is reviving someone, and I'm like, I'm not finna do it by myself. I'd rather have my drone do it. But I don't remember if I was doing that because my drone was healing somebody, like it was out like deployed, or was it, or if it was actually in the middle of reviving. Because there's been times where I'd be like, I'm not finna do that because I'm not finna manually do it. My drone can do it, but I just don't remember what the circumstances was. Was my drone deployed, or was it actually deployed because it was reviving somebody?
I've seen that the drone. I mean, the drone has. I think it has multiple because you could throw the drone out to heal somebody, as well as throw a drone out to pick up somebody. You know, so I think I've seen two drones on the map because of her doing a heal. Or does it stop you? Do you know if it stops you from being able to throw out the heal drone as you're doing the revive drone, or have you been able to throw out the revive drone as you were doing the heal drone?
Shoot, I don't even know. Now that you add that, I ain't never think about it.
I think I've done it before, like the few times I play with her. Pick somebody up, like I'll throw down the heal drone and then pick somebody up, so when they get up, they can just sit there in the heal drone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I think what we will see is we'll try. Obviously, we got to test that out, but yeah, I think it's going to be one drone you healing, but it could be two drones and you just not doing anything. You could just defend, which would be better. That's a better situation to me, if to have just two drones being able to self revive while you are defending. I think that'd be the better situation. So we'll see though. All right, well, let's move on to the next topic. I know I kind of wanted to talk about the FPS Boost, something that we can have a discussion around, because I think it's pretty cool, actually. Yeah, so just to introduce it, Microsoft has just dropped a freaking 74 list of games that they just did the FPS boost for. Some of them hitting 120 hertz. It's a beautiful thing. Basically, I was just playing Anthem at 60. And that game trash, but I always wanted to try and see how it was on 60 frames. This would have been beautiful if the game was still around, but obviously it ain't. They did it for Dying Light, one of my favorites, but even though I was going to play it, but I played all of that on the PlayStation, so I'm upset now. I'm going to just go ahead and rebuy it or download it again. I think I have Dying Light on my Xbox, if I'm not mistaken. But I want to play that game too because I just enjoyed the fluidity of that, and I think at 60 FPS it'll be so much better. But do you have the list up, or do you guys have the list up of games that you guys seen, or for the FPS
Yeah, I got it up.
boost? Let me some of the games that you interested in trying, Josh.
Well, the two, they would add it last week, but I was playing Titanfall and Titanfall 2 the most because they both got bumped up to 120, and those games already ran well, but they just run so much smoother at 120, and you just flying around the map. So that was fun. I mean, they bumped up the older Assassin's Creed games. They bumped up, you know, those Bethesda games. I saw Mad Max and the Metro games that got bumped up to 60. Those were good. I want to go back and play those.
Man,
yeah,
they
just a lot
bumped
of
up. They bumped up Paladins, Jalen. That was your favorite. And that's the 120 frames now, man. They did do record. You was joking about that, but they did
Man,
do
you know
record.
they have to do record, man.
They
Watch
did do
Dogs 1 and
record.
2.
That's their game, man. Record.
They did Battlefront 2 as well. Oh man, I didn't even see these. They did Evil Within 2. Wow, 60 frames per second. They even got Wasteland 3 up to 60 FPS. That just came out not too long ago, at least. Wow, man, a lot of these games I'm really interested in playing again, just because of the frame rate boost. They got Let's Have Some Fun. They got that mug up to 120 frames. Party to the people. They got the
What do you say? Power
hyperscape.
to the people.
Power to the people. Yeah, man. Let's have some fun. They only had one. They only had one dark skinned player. He was Dominican.
Know what that dude was, bro.
Yeah. We all had the black guy, and he was Dominican. So that was his accent, though. I was like, man, they can't never just give a brother from the hood, man. Why they can't just get somebody get some New York Tims on there? Stomping around. Yeah, just go get you a regular schmegular voice actor. They did Hollow Knight. I really loved Hollow Knight. And they got that to 120 frames per second. Man, Mad Max to 120. I really liked that game. My Friend Pedro, really good game as well. I'm just running down the list, and a lot of these games are really, really good. And they got Shadow of Tomb Raider to 60.
Yeah, I was reading about that. It's 4K 60 in the quality mode, so you get the
enhancements too,
better textures and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, man, they just dropped a huge bomb. They even got that trash Dragon Age Inquisition to 60 frames per second.
That means you're gonna go to sleep faster.
You go to sleep faster. So many frames make you sleepier. You're like, dang. I used to at least get 2 hours out this thing. Now I only get one. It's the frames.
Yeah.
It's the frames.
Straight to sleep, man.
Yeah, man. They got a bunch of stuff though. So I mean, you guys go check out the full list. But it's so many good games on here, and a lot of them are associated with the with the Game Pass, right, Josh? Like Game
Yeah,
Pass
not all of them, but
games.
most of those games are on Game Pass.
Yeah, man. They got
So you
Assassin's
ain't even
Creed
got to
3.
rebuy them. You just go
Right.
check it out.
They even got Unity. That's your favorite. That remember that's what that
They
whole
got Unity to
situation.
60, Jalen.
Yeah, they got Unity to 60 for you, man. Now
That
you can
game was terrible, bro.
now you can see the eyeballs pop out at 60 FPS. Digital
Man, you the
Foundry
one
did
that
a
bought it,
whole
man.
thing. Who bought it? Oh yeah, I bought it for $5. That's what they was asking. You act like I spent the whole
Man,
bando on that mug.
I definitely
Uh,
spent more money than I had. That's probably the most buy remorse I had for a video game ever.
And I might
dude,
have to try that one. I ain't
Man,
gonna
that
Assassin's
game was
Creed
terrible.
Unity. I think then Digital Foundry did a whole thing on that because they were like able to unlock the frame rate, and they just did it. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of these games, man, pretty tight. I ain't gonna lie. I've been appreciating what they've been doing. They and
Free
you know this ain't
updates.
nothing. This ain't gonna give them no benefit. And that's what I was
Yeah.
talking about earlier when I was talking about PlayStation. I was just like how they was so hard on people not getting, crossplay. And I'm just like, they doing stuff like this for the free. It ain't even like you paying no extra. You know how many probably man hours went behind this, testing this game and doing all that junk. And they just doing it off the strength. That's what I appreciate about Microsoft. Yeah, they still a company. They still want to make a profit. But I appreciate them a lot more than I appreciate a lot of other companies right now because they just do stuff like this for no. But it's not like they have to, but they do it because they know the preservation of games is important. Playing older games at a higher frame rates is important, and they understand that whole gamer point of view versus just trying to get you to pay more money, man. I'm sick of paying more money for stuff I already bought to make it look better. This is like that PC stuff coming to the consoles finally. So I just hope that other companies kind of catch on and kind of take that initiative to kind of do stuff like this. Or if Microsoft forced their hand, whatever. I appreciate them for doing that too.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's good that they're still supporting these games because even a game like Titanfall 2, which came out a couple years ago, that was not, people not playing it, but
yeah,
just giving it a refresh like this gets people back interested in it.
yeah,
It just really benefits the players, um, and it's free.
yeah.
I mean, that's the best thing.
That's the best thing. It is free. It's $0.00. You don't have to pay for it if you already own the game and you got it on Xbox. This is why I say I want to buy all of my third party games on the Xbox. I'm low key about to switch my Resident Evil to the Xbox just because off the strength of something like this happening. I know they're not gonna do that on Sony. So I'm like, why would I buy anything on that platform? Granted, I might not keep Resident Evil for forever, but as I've grown older and my pockets got better, I have stopped trading in games, which I feel like I should get back to because these consoles are expensive, but I just have stopped trading in a lot of my games. I just haven't had the first off COVID, but I haven't had the desire to kind of switch stuff out and trade stuff in because I just don't feel like it's necessary to me no more. But I do still understand the importance of like not giving it everything over. That's why I don't want to buy no $70 game right now because I feel like it's just not worth it in my opinion. So maybe once I come to terms with that and start to actually buy games more often and more frequently, I want to have at least those games to show be done on the Xbox versus on the PlayStation. Obviously, I still love PlayStation simply because of their exclusives. Do I like their practices? No. Do I enjoy how they kind of treat the community when they kind of do something wrong? No. But I mean, they're learning. They did the whole PS Vita thing. They had to switch that up. They changed it in the PS3 store. So I mean, they listening. I just feel like Microsoft's doing a better job right now. So don't sue me for that opinion.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool that they is doing all that stuff. Like you said, it's for the free. I feel like Sony been, and of course I'm not like like submerged in like the video game culture. Don't even own like a PS5 and stuff like that. But I feel like, um, at least for like the past like year or so, like Sony been kind of doing stuff that's like more or less subpar in comparison to like Xbox. And I feel like Xbox is like trying to put a lot more things on the table for the consumers and stuff like that, and doing it in a like you said, an easy fashion. Like you don't have to pay anything or anything. They just kind of just giving stuff away, if you will. So
Yeah, they can
I do
definitely
think that's
charge
pretty
for
pretty
FPS
dope.
boost, but if them choosing not to is great.
Yeah,
It's,
and I mean, the main thing is like Microsoft has always been saying that they want to support their old catalog. They want to keep all these games around, keep people interested, and it just it's nice to see that actually pay off. To see them have 360 games and
yeah,
other stuff that just keep coming back. They throw a couple improvements in there. Whereas like
yeah,
Sony, every now and then, which is good, but they bumped up what Ghost of Tsushima when
yep.
the PS5 came
Mm-hmm.
out. They bumped up those games, but they don't care about third party games in
At
that
all.
same way. And
Oh. And that's
so
why I was like, yeah, it's like no point in me messing with y'all. Y'all ain't finna go back and do the UFC 4 to 60 frames. Y'all
yeah,
not finna go back and do Untitled Goose Games for 120. I know y'all not. So I know y'all not gonna do that off the strength. The developers have to take that initiative. And imagine being a developer and you got a console and you got games and you have to choose between one or the other. Obviously, you're gonna go for the one that's like doing stuff on the back end for free. Like, obviously, I don't want to deal with having to upgrade my game to keep it fresh and stuff like that. Like the
yeah,
FPS
developers ain't
boost.
gonna do it for free. They're
Yeah, the
gonna charge
auto
you.
HDR. Like, they implement HDR into their games for them for free. Like, who you think I'm gonna pick? I'm not picking. I'm not going to Sony for that. Like, no. Like,
Man,
why would I not? Why would I not
I
just
know
send my junk over
Jalen
there?
bought Tomb Raider Definitive Edition on the PS4.
Yeah,
Just
man.
bumped
Definitely
it
bought
up
that mug.
to 1080p, and they gave her better hair.
Yeah, they definitely got me, man. Jokes on me.
I
Yeah, I got
remember him. I
finesse.
remember him actually buy that. He had buyer's remorse a little bit too, because he kept talking about it. He was like, "Man,
I
I don't
I
know."
was pretty straight with that game. I
I
mean,
mean, I
I
like the
never played the
game.
original Tomb Raider, so it was.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't think it was worth $60 because I had a 360 and a PS, or I think I still have my PS3, but I think you
Hmm.
was able to get it for like. I feel like that game was like pretty cheap, pretty quick. Like I think it was like $30 or something. I could have got it for, and I bought the $60 version. Obviously, it was cool and stuff like that, but it was just like I wanted to play my PS4, and I paid more money for it, and that was stupid. But
yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I mean, at least what we're getting here is that legacy continuation of those old games, and I know for them to be dropping 74 out of nowhere, like we was thinking that this was gonna be like eight, okay, another 7 maybe, but they was like, nah, G, we got 7 of them hot things for you, which is crazy.
yeah,
And if it's dropping like this, wait till they start to do their backwards compatibility again. Like, they stopped that, but they're going to continue that at some point as well.
yeah,
So a lot of stuff that I'm interested in, and like legacy stuff and all that good jazz, I'm sticking with Xbox for it. There's no point in me
yeah.
going to um,
And I feel
Sony
like
for that
they've
stuff.
been planning ahead, so it's probably just turn on the Switch at some point
Yeah.
because a lot of those 360 games, like they run better, but they don't
Hmm.
look better. That's been my only thing. Like it's still like 720p or whatever,
Right.
but just unlock the resolution or whatever they can do, and it'll look a lot better.
Yeah, to push it forward. Yeah, like FPS Boost is like not touching the code at all. It's kind of like tricking the game to think that it's like some like I said, they over there Houdiniing it up, and they doing a lot of stuff that's like I ain't capable for my brain to comprehend, especially when it comes to all that other stuff that they're doing. So obviously they understood what their strength was, hardware, and they understood that software intertwined with hardware, not talking gaming, not talking game software, I'm talking just software in general. They knew what their strengths was and they focused hard on that, and now they're kind of reaping the benefits of just that. And if they can buy their way into the gaming industry with good games, which they did because they dropped 7 bill. I mean, I forget how much it was now, but I think
it
it
was
was
like 7.
they dropped 7 bill. That means that obviously Sony got a monster they got to deal with. They got to come see them at some point, and at some point we gonna realize who is really, got that mindset of winning. I think Microsoft has the mindset of winning. I think Sony has the mindset of let's keep our top, our top selling things, are what makes us great. Let's keep that stuff really, really good. And that ain't gonna work no more. At some point, it's gonna be a flip. And I just hope Sony ready for it, because I don't want them to start trying to shell out more money at a point to where they can try to like gain more exclusivity and gain more things, because that's going to run out as well. That's not going to keep people engaged in that on that system as much as they would hope. It's going to be like, again, where people wait and wait and wait and then buy a bunch of your catalog like they did with the PS3, versus where the PS4 was like a cultivated community of people that just wanted to continuously be on that machine. I didn't want to be on the machine of the PS4. And the reason I got on the machine of the PS4 is simply because of where my friends were and where they at least started to try to worry about the online stuff. But honestly, it's been Xbox for real for me. And I don't really see the reason for me to kind of play anything outside of first parties on there anymore. The only reason I'm still playing on that mug, and the only reason that mug getting some shine right now, is because I play a lot of Apex, and they refuse to let me leave. So, I mean, that's it. I don't really play nothing else. I play Demon Souls to the point where I want to play it. I played my Spider-Man. I'm waiting for more exclusives. I'm not paying $70 for Returnal, even though it looks good. I just don't want to pay $70 for that type of game. Does not seem worth it. It's like a Rogue Legacy, like a Dark. Like, I'd rather pay $60 for Dark Souls than play that. Because I just don't want to. That game is not, in my opinion. Yes, it looks nice. Yes, I'm just not ready to. I'm not ready to start paying $70 for games. Period. If it was $60, I would probably go get it. But I'm just not ready to pay $70, and it's only a $10 difference. I get it. I'm just not ready to pay that amount for games that I don't feel like I'm taking a chance on anyway. It's not like it's a guaranteed fun experience. Plus, they're having issues with, which I kind of want to talk about Returnal, but before let me go back to the FPS Boost. But yeah, FPS Boost, pretty legit. I think it's going to be another one of those features that kind of stands out on their machine. I think it's going to be another reason to pick up. And not only is this coming to the Xbox Series X, it's also coming to the Series S where available. Some games cannot, but some games can. You could play certain games with like Battlefield Hardline at 120 FPS on the Xbox Series S. So they're not only supporting the bigger console, but they're supporting the smaller one too. So if you wanted to pick up that digital machine, it's a pretty powerful digital machine, to be honest. So for the amount of money you're paying for it anyway, yeah, it's pretty dope. You get 120 FPS on Titanfall 2 with that mug too. So pretty cool. But that's all I got really on the FPS Boost. Anything you want to add, Josh? I don't know if I cut you off. If I did, my bad.
No. I mean, the only game I've really tried, like I said, was Titanfall. It was a pretty good weekend for it because they also had like the free Titanfall weekend, so it was a lot more players on there.
Yeah.
Jump in, instantly get in the match, and yeah, I'm just happy that all these older games, come back and jump back in. I mean, even some games I haven't tried, like Sleeping Dogs, is like 60 FPS. So if I have the opportunity, I might download it and check it out.
Yeah, it's giving us way more games than we got time to play, right? That's what I always want. That's a good problem to have versus the other way around. So, yeah, might even try out that. Um, yeah, I mean, I was gonna play Anthem again because I'm just.
You can go ahead and download Deus Ex.
They still couldn't get me to
Man,
play that game, man. And I
they upped
probably
it.
would enjoy it, but they still couldn't get me to play that game. It just seemed so slow to me, and I was like, I can't do this.
They upped that game was on the list, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on the list. Deus Ex Mankind Divided got to 60 hertz boost. It was at 30 previously.
Yeah.
hmm
There
but
you
the
go,
last,
Josh.
yeah, Josh
I'ma
played it.
download it.
Did Josh pay?
Download it.
Yeah, he paid 60 for that thing.
Man, that boy went to Target as soon as he got back from Japan. 63.59.
Yeah, 63.59. He's like, swipe. I said, what did you do? You like that game? He's like, yeah, I'm gonna play it. He ain't playing for weeks. I think he said. I was like, man, you could have waited, man.
And we was right next to GameStop. Boy, you don't want the used version? Like, nah. Like,
I said,
all right.
we are both our eyes like, oh, he just swiping. Both our eyes
Going crazy.
or both our eyes got big. Like, okay, we see you out here.
Man.
And he was buying Sour Patch Kids. He was buying some candy too. I was like, oh man, it's big bucks over here. Big bucks. Nah, I was just playing.
Want to be a baller, shot caller.
But I guess our last topic is the Returnal, and I guess I got some grievances with it, but I don't know if you guys seen anything. And
Yeah,
it's
I
kind
seen
of
it. Like it looked interesting. It's basically a third person, like you said, rogue legacy, where you go out in the world. It's aliens or monsters, and you fight them. And when you die, you restart. Do you lose everything? I think you lose
all
everything
your
except
stuff. It's like proficiency, like some stuff you get for like you get better at using weapons, certain weapons if you use them often. So they keep that type of stuff. I'm not sure if you get any stats, but you definitely just keep your proficiency in weapons and like the level of I don't know what they call it, but it's some type of level that you have. But you get checkpoints too if you beat a certain level. So yeah, so you keep those things. I'm not 100% on the entirety of the loop, but I know that you keep like when you're fighting things and you're fighting with certain weapons, you have the level of proficiency with them that you keep, and then you also, once you beat a level, you can either take a checkpoint to that level directly to kind of take that on again, or you can go through everything again. But you kind of like get those checkpoints as you beat the bosses and you clear the biomes. I think that's what they call them. But yeah, I mean, Returnal seems like a good game. I won't deny that. It seems like it's right up my avenue. I really like those rogue-like games. I really like Rogue Legacy. I really like Dark Souls. I really like those types of games. Like those kind of infinite loops where you kind of get progress and you keep engaging and you keep going. And you kind of start over from the beginning and you kind of learn more and more about it. What I have read and what I have seen is that their loop is a little bit long for one type of sit down session. Like I know I play a Dark Souls session that might be 25-30 minutes before I die, or if I'm like really good, it might be like up to an hour, but I can get through it pretty fastly. And they give you power ups to kind of move, and motion and fluidity is important there. So in that game though, it kind of slows and hinders you because you can't just run past enemies. You have to defeat levels and areas that it kind of slows you down in that regard, where you can't just skip things. You have to kind of fight a lot of stuff, and you don't have much health. I'm not sure if there's health in increases because I haven't played the game at all, but there is things that you could possibly do to make it easier for yourself. But the moral of the story is that it takes longer for you to get through the game. It takes longer for your sessions to end, and people are kind of frustrated with that point of it. Which, I mean, you sign up for a roguelike game, you should understand that that's what you're going to get. I think the frustration is coming from the crashes. So the game crashes sometimes, and it's not like it's a definite thing. The developers have talked to Sony and tried to figure out why the game is constantly crashing. It's something on Sony's end, possibly, but the game crashes. The game crashes pretty not pretty often, but people have been reporting that it's a frequent thing that happens. So if you're running through a game that you don't take 2 hours for this session, you don't have a checkpoint, and then it crashes, you have to start back over. There is no save points. There is no, it's nothing you can do. Once you only save when you die. So if the game crashes and you don't have that proficiency and all that stuff, it doesn't matter. You lose all that progress. So that's a big problem for a game that's about that's based around that roguelike scenario. Especially when the sessions are as long as they are. That's one thing that kind of turned me off of the game. Another thing that turned me off of the game, which I kind of spoke about earlier, was the $70 price tag. How do y'all feel about the $70 price tag?
Mm-hmm. I don't have any plans to buy a game for $70, but that's not to say like if it's a game I'm looking forward to, it's $70, and I want to play it, I might spend that money. But I don't feel like any game so far has justified that price. Like they're telling you it's $70, it's worth more money than what you paid last generation, but it's nothing that's actually shown that, in my opinion. Because even Spider-Man, Miles Morales, the game looks good, but fundamentally it's a PS4 game. Like, why are you charging more money for it other than because you can? So
Yep.
Returnal looks good. I'm sure it's a fun game. I enjoy those games, but again, their engagement is very, how to put it, usually they're short games, but the reason why you die so many times is so that the game is spread out longer. So like nobody's gonna be perfect, so you don't spend 10 extra hours trying to beat the game just because you die so much. But it's not because there's more quality per se in the game. So I mean, I'll try it eventually, but I don't see, they didn't really market it, because really like that game didn't have any marketing until it came out.
Yeah.
And people have been talking about it. Oh, it's actually really good. Now people are interested in it. If it wasn't good or was mediocre, then that $70, they wouldn't have been happy about that either.
Right. What about you, Jalen? What you think about $70 games?
I don't know, man. I thought we might have got to like a decent place with I know, like I think like PlayStation 1 games might have been 40, PS2 games were like 50, Xbox 360, and then the latter generation like PS4 and Xbox One was like $60. Then now we have 70. So I understand like I guess the value of the dollar is like decreasing and stuff like that. But going back to me saying like I thought we was like in a better position. I feel like the fact that like games is charging so much for like microtransactions and
DLC.
Yeah, like it's a lot more microtransaction. They charging arms and the legs for skins and stuff like that. Like we talked about some skin that was like you get a pack or something of, I think it was like for like 1,800 coins or something, like on Apex or something like that, or 30. I forgot what y'all said. But
3,000, yeah, 3,000.
Yeah, and I mean the thing about all this stuff is like you can't transfer. I mean, some stuff might let you like transfer it, but it's just so like it's like transient. I don't have something physically there. I'm buying something that can to my knowledge, you don't really have rights to this stuff. Like if something was to happen to your account, or you know, you don't really got no way of like really proving that you like own this stuff or whatever. Just kind of like giving you access to something or whatever. And I don't feel like $70 is like justifiable when you charging this much money for all this other stuff that they putting in the game. And I understand like the, you know, like supporting the devs and all that type of stuff, but some of that stuff to me, man, I don't know, $70 is a lot of doggone money for a video game, and they're not better than what they were before. I feel like if anything, they like, I feel like the game's cutting more corners, but that might be me because it's actually spending my money on these games. Whereas in the past, my mom or dad might buy me a PS2 game or something. I'm like, man, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. You know what I'm saying? So I just became a lot more critical. Y'all know me. I don't pay full price for a game, and I can't see myself paying $70 for a game because I know y'all gonna have some DLC. Y'all gonna have microtransactions. It's always a debate if the game is really complete or if they withholding stuff to what's the word, to bring the game back up to surface 3 months later where y'all want to release the DLC, or y'all might have a season pass where y'all do like 3 months increments and stuff like that. But that type of stuff, bro, I don't know, man. I can't get jiggy with it. It's just a lot of money, man, for like a game, and I don't feel like it's, like I said, I don't feel like the games are any better than what they were the previous generation.
Yeah, like what he said, the $70 doesn't mean that that's it. You pay 70, you get the whole game. You're still gonna have the season pass. You're still gonna have the microtransactions for most of those games. Then what's the point of the extra $10? You know, like, you know, if we buy Destiny 2 and it's $60 when it come out, and we spend another 40 in a year, like it makes sense because you're getting the whole quote unquote whole package. But like they're increasing the price and you're still going to be paying this extra stuff, so it's just you spending way more money overall than just that $10.
Yeah, and I kind of, and that's where I fall. I kind of fall right with you guys, right in line with that. It's kind of like, yes, they have improved to mean that they're worth it. Yes, if a game I really want to play, it comes out and it's $70, I'm gonna pay for it. But I haven't seen a game, in my opinion, that was worth $70. Not Demon Souls, not Spider-Man Plus, Spider-Man Remastered, nothing. No 2K21. Even though I paid, oh my god, I don't know why I paid $70 for that stupid game. I never play it.
What game? You bought 2K, didn't you?
I bought 2K. Yeah, $70.
Oh, you bought it for the PS5?
Xbox Series X.
Oh yeah, you tripping, bro.
Yeah, it was a buy two get one free, but I shouldn't have wasted my money on that one. So, it still felt like I was robbed, basically. But
yeah,
I
that
just
game
don't
gonna lose the support in a year.
Yeah. I should definitely try to sell that game. And like I said, a lot of these games I have on my shelf now, I'm just not. I don't know. I just haven't felt like taking them in to go try to get some credit or whatever. It just hasn't been important to me. And I think that's probably not a good thing because I need to continue to, utilize the options I have to kind of replenish the funds I have for gaming versus, putting additional funds in there. Because there's always been a recycle type mindset for me when it comes to gaming, and it's not recyclable anymore. It's like I'm just keeping stuff, and I probably should stop that to kind of get that mindset back that yes you can afford it, but you shouldn't do it anyway because of this, that, and the third. And that's how I kind of kept my mindset through the PS4 era. So why not through this PS5 where it's more money now, stupid. But in my opinion, I feel that same way. Resident Evil, I'm happily gonna pay my $60 because that's all they want. Great, they got deluxe edition for $70. Not buying it, but I buy the regular one for $60 and have my good old time. Ratchet and Clank, I'm passing on it. Unfortunately, it looks like a great game. I'm just not paying $70 for it. I don't care what y'all put into that game. Ratchet and Clank has never been worth 60 in my opinion. It's always been fun to play, and I will support the devs that make games like that because it's important to keep those single player titles together. But no, it's not been worth 60 in my eyes for a very long time. Not with the reboot, not with none of that. And then to charge me 70 now for this one, it's just like I'm not going to play that game until it comes to a cheaper price. And that would have been a game I would have bought at 60. Honestly, I would have bought that. But now, I'm not buying it. It's just too close to it's too much now. Games like that, I just don't feel like I have the justification. I think as they continue to hike the price, they lose out on those customers that say, I try that, because now you have to be very particular, especially when you're budgeting, because again, I can afford it. Y'all can afford it too. I'm just saying that our thought behind it is this is different now. It's not that can we afford it? It's like, is it worth it? It's not. In my opinion, it's not worth it.
I mean, it's just like, you go to McDonald's and they added $5 to their prices. Like,
Yeah.
sure, I can pay $5 extra, but I remember the value of this yesterday. It was worth $3, and now you want $8, and that don't make no sense.
Right.
It's the
Exactly.
principle.
It's the principle behind it. Exactly. It's not like it's a stupid thing to kind of try to justify. And I think, again, this was another one of those situations where I'm hoping Nintendo don't think. I'm hoping, because that's another Japan-based company. And I hope they don't think that their games are worth $70, because they're not. But if they try it, oh my God, people will still buy it. I won't. I would never buy another Nintendo game. Probably the only thing I'll probably buy is Zelda. That's it. I wouldn't pay anything else for another one of those Nintendo games. They hold their value better than most, so it'll be more logical to buy their games, because I know I can get probably $60 because some idiot is gonna buy it too. But I think we would have a stronger case for them doing it than any other company, simply because of how much their games hold their value. Digital, stupid. I would never buy a digital game from them. But physical, because they hold their value as much as they do, I think they would have the best case. Everything else, the way things go, it's just no point of buying day one anymore. They're forcing people to stop buying day one because there's no reason to. Because as soon as that game starts to show that they can't sell as many, that game is going to have a steep sale. That game is going to drop in price, and it's going to really show how much it truly is in the value. So, again, it's important to kind of put that perspective on it and kind of take that away. But back to kind of Returnal and what we were talking about. Returnal is just in that, it falls in that bucket, unfortunately. Looks great, not worth in my opinion, not worth $70. It would be a great game to try, but I don't want to justify that price. I can't justify that price in my brain, nor do I want to pay that in the future. So a lot of games that I would try are no longer going to be tried. I have less time. I have way more value on my Xbox. So why not just play the game that they are making available for me for the free, or at least with Game Pass, versus buying new games. And again, this was all Sony's doing. Sony is the one that initialized this. First, it was 2K. 2K initialized it with their 2K21, I think. And then it was Madden. And then at first it was that. It was then EA, and then it was Ubisoft, and then Sony joined. I don't know how it went, but I know that and then Microsoft was still like, nah, we ain't gonna do that. We don't want to do that yet. I don't know if they're still the same way moving forward. Obviously, Halo is still gonna be 60, and a lot of their upcoming games are gonna be 60. But I don't think that they're gonna push just yet. I think they might wait another year before they do it. But obviously, Sony has already made the shift. People are normalizing paying $70. I have yet to come into terms with that, so I have not normalized it. But Returnal falls within that frame, unfortunately. Returnal falls within that problematic space of, no, I don't think you're worth it yet until you prove otherwise, that I'm getting $10 more value. I cannot accept to try their game at that price, no matter how good it may be. It was never a game that I wanted to pick up in the first place. Now that it has the review categories that's showing that it's a great game, and I have seen some gameplay, it seems interesting, but $70 is that disconnect. So they lost that sale simply for that price point. And I think a lot of people feel that way. And I don't think I'm alone in that. Obviously, we talked about it. All three of us feel the same way. So I think it's a lot of people out there that they're going to lose sales on just because simply choosing to make them sell that game at 70 versus what is truly what we're used to. What's the norm? Because it's not.
Want to play?
Yeah.
If you want to play a similar game, just buy Hades. It's $25.
And Hades has a better story. So it's that premise behind it. It's like, why do games that feel like I guess we have to talk about this further at some point, but that's kind of what's gnawing at the back of my brain, is that a lot of games we accepted to be, that people will pay that money for, and we knew very much so that game was not worth that amount of money, period, right? And we accepted that because that was the normality of it. Now you're pushing a lot of games that don't fit that bill to charge to cost $70, and they don't fit the bill of worth $70. Even Valhalla, a game that multiple developers and all this stuff contributed to, it's a bigger budget, ain't worth $70 in my opinion, and I would never buy any DLC for it. But that's how they kind of make their back end. So, it's just an interesting take because of how lucrative the gaming community, or like how lucrative it can be when you're putting out a game, and the fact that they kind of continuously still want to up the ante on that. I think they're just more so hindering that initial push or that initial day one sales figure. It may shake out to be an even thing at a later point, but I think right now, with these types of games and the amount it costs, I think it's a problem. So we'll see what happens there. But it's interesting though. Like the philosophy behind it is very interesting to me, and why they decided to kind of do it in that way. Because remember, they didn't say it. They didn't announce they're going to be $70. They just put out a blog, and we saw how much this was going to be, and they didn't say anything. They just said, yeah, that's how it is. And it's not like they announced it. So it's just interesting, it's that they already get money for that they used to didn't get for just having this online and having the servers available, which a lot of people don't pay. PC don't have to pay for that, but we have to pay for that. So it's just so much that they already kind of get out of us already. Yes, I would honestly be more accepting to if it was kind of flipped and it was like you pay a little bit more for our online services, because then I can choose to not accept that and kind of not do it. But to play games now is like that cost point, and for me to have to justify buying something at that early on price, it's probably it's just interesting. I'll say that. I'll leave it at that because I'm just rambling. It's not. It's a scam. Yes, it's a scam, but it's an interesting one because the thought process behind it is to create is to kind of try to say that these games are worth more when they're really not, but at but also continue to do the same things that they previously used to do. So really, it's just a tax because just to have a tax because the reason why they didn't change from the PlayStation 3 to the PS4 is because there was really no necessary need from the PS4 to the PS5, the graphical fidelity and all that stuff that changed. It's not this significant at all. So I don't really understand. And with the what Microsoft is doing and trying to create a system where you can choose and you don't have to buy a console, it really makes it sets them out there on like it sets Sony out there right now, because I'm not saying that Microsoft isn't going to do it in the future, but right now it sets them out there on the boat by themselves. It kind of shows that Sony has already done this with their studios and publishing. Microsoft has yet to implement that. So we'll see. We will see. Because Medium came out. That was published by Microsoft. It's still 60. So there's games that came out, obviously, that was on the Microsoft side that have not switched to that $70 price tag. But I'm pretty sure everything that comes out from Sony from now on, 70. How much?
It makes sense.
Yeah. I think Bugsnax was 40 though. So, well.
Didn't
they need to reserve
that.
Yeah, they put that on PlayStation Plus. How much was Oddworld? Was Oddworld 70? I wonder if Oddworld. I didn't even download that game for free. I was like, I ain't playing that garbage.
They need to just reserve like some of those games. Like if they want to have like a Ghost of Tsushima 2 or you know what I'm saying, stuff like that, maybe they can make those like they for real games and stuff like that, man. But I feel like all games shouldn't be $70. And to be honest with you, I know we kind of like talked about this a lot, and this might be a conversation for a different day and stuff like that. But I wasn't somebody who even wanted to pay $60 for a game just because I didn't feel like. At first, I felt like that, or I mean, at first I felt okay with it, but then I started as time started progressing and stuff like that. I just kind of felt like, and I'm not a video game historian or whatever, but I felt like other games, like other devs and stuff, started making games. They started charging like $60. Like it started becoming super widespread, and everybody just wanted $60 for mediocre at best games or whatever. I felt like the threshold to make games was just like lowered or whatever. I'm not gonna say like indie games wanted $60, but I just felt like games in general started costing more for a little quality that they was like providing. I remember like a prime example. It was one game. I think it was, what was it, like I am Setsuna or something like that. I wanted to play that, but they just wanted a bunch of money for it. And I'm just like, y'all literally putting out 8-hour games and stuff like that, and y'all want all this money. So that's why I kind of started having my resentment. I'm like, this game wants $60. I want to try this game. They want a bunch of money and stuff like that. And then it just started everything just started diluting. And I was just like, you need to really buy none of these games because y'all want too much money for nothing. And then obviously the microtransaction stuff got real big this generation than it was last generation. I think the game I remember having the most microtransactions was probably Mass Effect 3. And their system was kind of trash. It was like basically gambling. But yeah, so I don't know. It's just a lot of money for a lot of glitchy games, and I think the generation was oftentimes they had a cop out because they can fix the game after releases. And I don't know if you guys remember, but Black Ops 1 had got a lot of backlash because they put out an incomplete game. But the way things is now, they can put out incomplete games and you won't even. And I could be wrong, but for the most part, what I'm hearing, you can put out a game and they can keep changing it, and it's a quote-unquote complete game. But, I mean, Bloodborne was put out, and that game wasn't complete. They had that generic loading screen like, hey, bro, we ain't got nothing for you, but we're going to just put a picture here and then just load. So, it's a lot of cutting corners, I feel like.
And yeah, I mean that's really the biggest point for me too. It's just the cut corners, the non the non traditional games that are gonna try to snake in at $70 price tags, and I think it'll kill a lot of developers. But some people are being smart about it. Soulstorm was only $50 for a reason because it's not that type of game. Um, and I think pricing is going to be important now. We're going to have to look at pricing more often than we used to, because it used to be where you would know what types of games are going to be more and more least expensive. Like Resident Evil, to me, because I love that franchise so much, and if they were to put in the time and the engine in itself, in my opinion, is the upgrade enough for me to charge an extra $10. Even though, again, I don't think so. I don't think like people would accept it. I would accept it because I enjoy the franchise, and they have probably made some of the best looking games in the last two generations from just Capcom. So I would pay for their games because I enjoy what they do, and they're pushing the envelope with their engines. But they're not even charging that much. They're just charging the same $60 as they stated, because of simple reasons that they don't need to kind of. I don't know if the next games are going to be 70, but this game is 60. So it just shows that some people are just being greedy, because even games that I feel like are worth the 70 aren't trying to get the 70 out you. And they don't even do like a lot of DLC and a lot of like microtransactions in their games. They really just do like one-off things. That doesn't really cost you, but they might upgrade or something like that, or they might do a definitive edition, because that's what they do. They kind of reissue it with all the DLC to attach to it, but they don't charge you an arm and a leg for that stuff, and it's optional. It's not necessary. So, I kind of like how Capcom does it. I kind of like how they do with their games. And I feel like they're not charging 70. So I don't think Returnal, again, the company that made Resogun, should be charging 70 for their new game. I don't think that it deserves it. But it seems great. It seems fun. And if people will put that price tag on it, then I'll accept it. But that's where as you stated, Jalen, all that scammy stuff come into place, and it just feels like everybody don't deserve this. Everybody don't deserve to go to the, everybody don't deserve to be at the cookout, basically. It's not like, nah, you ain't worth it. But
I'm screaming. Man, they made Resogun?
Yeah, they made Resogun. That was
like
their
that first PS, like one of the like first little PS4 like indie game type thingies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
right.
they make good arcadey games, and that's another one of those types that falls right into their realm. But again, not worth it. I wouldn't pay that much for Recore, and that's kind of like, it's not similar at all. Roguelike games and Recore is different, but I feel like when I was watching Recore gameplay, I was watching Returnal gameplay, because it
has the lock on.
The similarities to the lock on, the fluidity of the game, combat, third person, and all that stuff. It seems similar, but obviously Returnal is a totally different game. So, but yeah, I think we kind of hit everything we wanted to talk about. Moral of the story on Returnal is I'm not buying it. It's a long way of saying that, but I ain't buying it until it gets to like $50-$40. Hopefully hopefully I got time for it, and hopefully I'm interested in playing it at that time. But later on down the line, in like Octoberish, maybe it's cheaper. But we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the topics. Not much else to say. We coming up here on time. Any last things y'all want to say before we head up out of here? Nah, right? It's been pretty. I like those topics. I liked the FPS Boost Legacy update. I liked those conversations. So, yeah, we covered it all, people. We'll be back next time to cover some most stuff that we interested in. But as usual, I want to thank you guys for listening. You can always find this podcast on your podcast streaming services. You can also check out the YouTube video on my YouTube channel at BCD Universe. But yeah, appreciate you listening. Thanks for stopping by. See you in 2 weeks. And we'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.
Deuces.